Over the next few lessons, we're going to be creating this bracket design. So to start, we're going to sketch out the general shape of the base. And in the end, we'll have something that resembles a sketch like this that we're going to eventually create into a 3D design. So let's try to generate this sketch from scratch. So I'm going to start just by sketching out those first 3 circles to define the base of my final sketch. Started with a circle about here, and there was one somewhere down here as well. Now, I'd like to finish the sketch off, or define these circles, with some constraints and some dimensions. So I'm going to maybe throw on my center origin point. I'll just tap to select my center point of the circle and drag to my origin point. Again, I like to lock one of my points into my origin, so I'm going to tap to select that point and lock that in as well. Now maybe I want to move my larger circle somewhere into place here, and I want the total distance between these 2 points to be about 70 centimeters. Now, let's start throwing in some dimensions for these circles as well. My first circle, I'd like the radius to be about 10 centimeters. And for my second circle, I'd like the radius to be 20 centimeters. If I'm happy with the location of my second circle, again, maybe I'll select the midpoint and lock that one in as well. Finally, I'll move my circle somewhere in place here and start to throw in constraints and dimensions for this as well. I know the dimension I'd like here is 10 centimeters as well for the radius, so I can throw in 10, or I can use the equal constraint with my first circle. And now I just want to finish it off by throwing in some locations. So what I can use here is maybe I'd actually like to throw in the dimension between the center point here and here. And I actually want to put that in as a horizontal distance or dimension. So I'm going to change from absolute to horizontal. And I'd like this to be 92 centimeters. Similarly, I'd like the vertical dimension from this point and this point. So I will change that to be a vertical dimension, and I will throw in a value of 36 centimeters. Now, these 3 sketches should be fully defined, but if I'd like, I can lock in that center point as well. Now I have the general shape of my bracket, and I'm just going to finish it off with a couple arcs. So throw in an arc somewhere about here, somewhere about here, and somewhere about here. And I like to just throw in the general shape of the arc and then finish it off with whatever constraints and dimensions I might need. So I'm just going to throw in some tangency constraints here. So I'll grab my top arc, the circle here, throw in a tangency, and that arc once more with my middle circle, throw in that tangency, and just same with my rightmost arc, just repeat these steps. And finally my bottom arc as well, grab that arc and make tangent with my circles. And now I'm almost finished off this sketch. Might just need to throw in some final radius of those arcs. So let's say this arc here, I want to throw in a value of 80 centimeters for the radius. And my other two arcs, I'm actually going to throw in the same radius. So I can just grab both of those and my third and say equal to make all three of those arcs equal with each other. Finally, I've finished off my sketch here. If I'd like, I can clean it up a little bit by trimming away. So I can use the trim tool and just maybe trim away any of these entities that we're not necessarily using anymore. And hit done to finish it off. As you can see now, I have my completed bracket sketch, and in the next few lessons, we're going to be learning how to create a 3D design from this sketch.